Are we in or are we out? Are we in or are we out? Are we going to defend him to the hilt for the rest of the season, or are we going to smash him every time? Jim, I'm a positive person. I say from this point forward, you and I, we find a way, regardless of what happens, we find a way of papering over the cracks.
Quote of the pod, we've got comment of the week. We've got a couple of derby games as well. We've got the ref thing's gone out of hand a little bit, so we're going to be talking about that in detail. We're going to talk about Lampard, Solskjaer, Arsenal versus Man United. We've got Steve Bruce's gaff. People have been decorating that for us. And we might have a little shark fact at the end of it as well. But actually, I'm going to go right to the bottom of my running order straight off the bat, because there was a comment from someone. Here, Car Heels 97, because we have our patrons in the building with us right now. Shout outs to Catherine Heap, Ollie Sack, Rab Summers, Sam Cornish, Pat Hu, Bobby Turner, Active and Blind, Luke Ball. All the lads and ladies are in there, so thank you. If you get involved,
if you want to watch this podcast live and get involved in the show and take part of the quiz that we still need a name for at the end of the show, then you can do that, because you're essentially watching. This is like filmed as live, but goes out later. This is filmed live with our lovely patrons. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you've got loads of money and you don't mind giving some of it to us, then that's the privilege you get for it.
Absolutely. And what it does feel like, I swear, it does feel like it's Thursday, it's around midday. Like, it does start, it's becoming an event again. Like, it felt like that with One for the Wing. It was like, oh, it's Thursday today. That means we've got to record Jaffin, or whatever it was, One for the Weekend back in the day. And so I'm quite enjoying it. I like it. In terms of comments of the week, I'm going to go straight to this one, because we've got quote of the week as well, and obviously, as I said, derby games. And we'll react to how good Spurs are, how good Man United are, how good Chelsea are. We'll talk about it all. But Charlie Peach said, we need a name for the patrons. Our little dirty corner of people willing to put money towards this mess need to be named. I propose Little Slugs. It just has a ring to it that makes me want to spend even more money.
I don't know. It's too much of an in-joke.
Do you want to be a little slug? Would you like to be a little slug? Well, you can.
Because if you don't know about the joke, it just makes us look like we're calling the people that support the podcast slugs, which is not correct. It's not what we feel, is it?
See, your alter ego just said in the comments, coming back to
up the little slugs.
Up the little slugs, yeah. Interesting. Let us know. Is there a better name for the patrons? I thought we've always generally called them Jaffin lovers, but maybe Little Slugs is the way to go. I don't know. Let us know. Right. We've also got reactive as well. Somehow the reactive clubs is somehow hanging in there. This week, Boren, which I didn't even know was an element. We'll be getting into that. Quote of the pod. Graham Young. Today was the day I found out that I do have a gag reflex. That was Flav last week. So for anyone who did miss the podcast last week, go check it out. Although the title does suggest that we're talking about Everton and Liverpool, we talk about pretty much everything. Rick KS, no respect, all hate, that's football. That was you as well, Flav, obviously. That's 8 minutes in. This is going to be good. Do you know what also as well, the top liked comment was, did anyone get past 10 minutes? I asked if anyone got past 10 minutes. And over 50 people liked it, which I presume means at least 40 of those made it past 10 minutes. So we cannot thank you enough for getting through this. Haley Bernard, The Nuances of German Football, sent me. That was the nomination for Quote of the Pod. That was when Fan brought in lunch last week. We were midway into pretty much a thesis on German football, and that's actually something else that will be coming back. Liverpool cracks continues, and we've got a few of those as well.
Cracks,
big cracks. And final quote of the week: Flav, talking about the periodic table, just said, "What is this? Is this life?" This is the level that we're talking about here, guys. Okay, so welcome to the podcast. As I say, comment of the week last week. Comments of the weeks. Jack, I usually listen to the podcast while working. Today I finished early, so I'm now giving it a listen while I shave my bollocks in the bath. Thank you for guiding me home, lads. Just the last bit of that one. Thank you for guiding me home, lads. Really, really odd.
Is that a normal thing? People shaving their bollocks in the bath?
Shaving the bollocks in the bath? Where do you do it? Actually, don't answer that because we might have a sponsorship soon, and we'll need to talk about that. So let's not talk about that right now. See if you can guess in the comments below. Tar Heels 97. Question for all. It's straight into the football this week, guys. Outrageous. Would an all non-top 6 11 beat a Liverpool or Man City team at full strength? And who would be in your non-top 6? Now, I know this is a big thing to jump into, and I've seen the face already, Flav. And by the way, Flav did a podcast with Anthony, who some of you guys might have spotted on, I think he's been on True News at the end of it, and he's interviewed me, he's interviewed Rory, he's interviewed Loz. And what I didn't know was when I'm trying to make points about football, turns out Flav apparently it's really noticeable to the rest of the world, but Flav just sort of grimaces with a face that's, well, it turns out is suggesting that I don't like football. I don't want to talk about football. And that upset me. That's the kind of insight that was brought by that podcast. Thanks.
Well, I don't understand why would you be insulted by that?
Because I'm making fantastic, footballing chat here.
Yeah, no, you are. Well, didn't I say my face means I don't enjoy the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Not you.
No.
I can spend all day talking to you. It's not that.
Because we're gonna have to. I know this is a sort of long-running theme. We're gonna have to talk about football at some point.
I'm happy to talk about football.
Okay.
Like, this is a football podcast. Fundamentally, it is a football podcast. Okay. Just all I'm saying is, as much as we can, let's keep football out of it.
Okay. Well,
I think that's a completely acceptable thing to ask.
Okay. Right. Okay. Good to know. Are we arguing?
No.
Of course not.
Mild...
I actually think this might be one to set up for another week, but generally, as a general thought, is the gap between the full strength Liverpool? I guess that's the beauty of like all the injuries at the moment, because everyone seems to be getting loads of injuries. Apart from Spurs, what world are we living in right now? It's bizarre.
Oh yeah, all right. Let's focus on the question, because it's an interesting question. If anything, it's about the gap between the top and the rest of the league. Like, surviving in the league, if you take points off the top 6, historically, this is what the Premier League is and the strength of it. If you take 6 points off the top 6, that's like a bonus. It's about beating people around you in the mid-table that really kept you up. What's glorious about this year is that there doesn't seem to be a great deal of pattern to it all. Teams that look so convincing, they're getting beat. Teams that like Man City have been horrible so far this season. Everyone was hyping up Arteta. But they cannot create chances. So there's no rhyme or reason to it, and I'm all for it. I think this is a great way for football to be. But historically, it was a case of like Liverpool were so, and they were last year actually, were so far and so much better than everybody else. But anybody in the bottom half weren't going to get points off Liverpool. Typically, you wouldn't expect it to.
Yeah.
So the question of is it any team out of the side top 6?
I think, look, obviously there's the established 6 names. Let's put it that way. Okay,
from last year,
6 names, which I think is what they're generally saying. If it's a non-top 6 11, I think that's what makes it hard. I think if you go Chelsea and all those other Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, those teams, then you can think of names that could challenge those other teams. I think after that, then you are struggling because you've got. I don't think you can, actually. I don't think there is an 11 that would beat them because, for example, goalkeepers. Like, who are the best goalkeepers? The best goalkeepers play for the best team. So I think the more you drill down into it, I just thought it was a really good comment. I thought it was really interesting. That you could dive into it and try and put together a team. Like, both of us are big fans of Grealish, for example.
If you could take... you got Danny Ings...
Danny Ings. You got Calvert-Lewin.
You got Wilfred Zaha, Jack Grealish.
Jimenez,
it's not
some Wolves players.
It's people. Yeah, some Wolves players. I think you could put together. You could put Aubameyang. He could go in.
Aubameyang part of the. Well, we'll be talking about.
Oh, is he?
Man United soon.
Should he be? I don't know. They haven't finished in the top 6 in. I don't know. Maybe they have. Anyway, no. I think it would be it'd be close, but I think Liverpool would probably end up beating whatever you could produce. But you still get a good side out of that.
Yeah, true. Vardy, it's a good point. I think there's a video in that. I'm going to put together like the best 11 I can think of.
There you go.
Interesting. Stay tuned. Subscribe. Next comment. Jack, 28 August, which I presume is his birthday. So if you are looking to hack into the bank details of Jack, 28th of August I'll go with. Which was the day I got engaged. Oh.
3 days before my birthday.
Because, that's why I wanted to do it. Because I didn't want to... I needed something to kiss it. Because I hear when you propose, there's a bit of a high and then a bit of a low. So I wanted something just to kind of ride that out. Because I knew it was your birthday a few days later. Forget the European Prem. What about an English Prem exchange system? So, like, exchange Bayern for Man United for a season. And now, I presume this is a joke. But I don't mind it. I kind of like... If Man United are happy to sort of go be in the Bundesliga for a year... And if Barcelona or Bayern Munich, whoever, they just want to they want a little taste of the good stuff that is the Premier League, then pop on over.
It's funny, but I hate it.
Sure.
I would hate it if Spurs were had to go and play in another league. And this is the thing, is like with Celtic and Rangers and the idea of them coming down to play in English football. I think they were actually slightly different with them because they'll be able to ride it out as the Scottish teams that everyone wants to beat kind of thing. There'll be that rivalry between the two countries already. But typically, going to play in Germany as Tottenham for a season, there's just nothing riding on it. Like I wouldn't care where we finished.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a team from another league in the Premier League either.
I was listening to a podcast about the European Super League and more importantly about Bartomeu. And basically, did you see how he resigned? He basically resigned from Barcelona. And obviously, it's been a bit of a mess, and they lost El Clasico, and so it was like it's time to go because he had a vote of no confidence. But like right at the end of his resignation, he basically just said, "Oh yeah, and we're up for the European Super League," and like dropped the mic and just got out of there.
Yeah.
But then I was listening to this podcast, and they were saying, I can't remember who exactly the person was, but they were saying this. You've got to think about the context of all of this. Like the European Super League apparently is just a bit of a joke, or the idea of it is a bit of a joke, and it will. This guy was saying, "Don't worry about it; it won't happen." The point of it is a power play to get more money, and because of the climate of Barcelona and some of these other teams as well, without being able to have fans and all that stuff, and them having to push their kind of financial margins to the limit because they haven't got the same money as a Premier League. They kind of have to kick up a fuss every now and again to try and get a reaction from UEFA. And like there might be a moment where it tips over and something like this does happen because we're talking about it too often and people start to believe it as a good idea. But it was quite nice to hear it. It was suggesting that like he's sweating.
I'm really ill, mate.
Oh, sorry, bud.
I've been ill for like a week. My missus is ill. All the kids are ill.
Mate. Basically he was saying it's never going to happen, which I generally feel is a relief because you do. It does scare me a bit for sure.
Yeah, I guess I can't see how it could ever happen. The amount of games, there's too many already. Champions League is too valuable. European Super League hasn't got the support. It's a big gamble, and it costs huge amounts of money because in order to draw the teams over to it, they'd have to financially incentivize them significantly, and that would be written into the contract of the agreement of when these clubs join this league. They won't be leaving the Premier League. It'll be just damaging the Champions League, I'd imagine. I don't think they could do both competitions. So, it probably is a bargain chip. Why do they need more money? Like, why would Barcelona and Real Madrid ever need more money than what they get right now? How much advantage do they actually want?
I guess the point is they're spending so much of it they've spent so much of it on players that haven't worked out that they
just
are...
Let Messi go.
It's irrelevant. You know, like NBA players who then go bankrupt. Like, they all had enough money. They just spent too much of it. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, when you're playing... God knows how much Messi's on. I mean,
exactly.
Huge amounts of money.
By the way, people in the chat, and I imagine in the comments would be asking the obvious question, has Flav got COVID? Could be a title. I'll see how I feel when I do the comment.
That's why I know I haven't got... well, unless my test came back and it's a false negative. But it came back negative. And that's how I know I haven't got a gag reflex. I wasn't out sucking dick to find that out. I did a thing, didn't I?
Yeah. Taken out of context, of course, it seems different. Right. Sorry.
Do you know when you scream that way? It's weird. It sort of peaks. I don't hear it on my end.
goes, that's what I did last time. I'm doing the thing I did last time where I click it on and click it off. Is it off now? It's turned off.
Yep.
That's what I did last time. Thank you everyone involved, giving their derby games for the weekend. Do you know what was weird? It was really weird. The focus on Fulham West Brom being a derby game and the disdain towards those two clubs. I feel like it might be getting out of hand a little bit. This because
you've got your messages open, by the way.
Which messages? Oh, okay, it's fine. It's just football. Yeah. It's just football at the weekend. It's not football at the weekend. Football tonight. We're playing tonight. Why can't I get to the internet?
What with the boys? Play with the boys.
With the boys. I was chatting to Rambo. Not Rambo. I was chatting to Rambo. I was chatting to
going on about Rambo all the time. Rambo.
I was chatting to Rory, who messaged me. As he's flying with his channel, and he goes, "I've seen you've got you've written some stuff in your about page. Do I need to do that?" I was like, "Is it fine?" Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I presume so. It's so funny.
It clearly doesn't matter, Rory. You're flying.
Yeah, don't concentrate on the about page. Just keep putting the videos out, mate. You're doing bits. Right. So first of all, the question is, like I said, there's a lot of heat on Fulham versus West Brom as we go through the game. Friday, a lot of Friday games these days. Wolves versus Crystal Palace, Sheffield United versus Man City, Burnley versus Chelsea, Liverpool versus West Ham, Aston Villa versus Southampton, Newcastle versus Everton, Man United versus Arsenal, Spurs versus Brighton, Fulham versus West Brom, and Leeds versus Leicester City. But which one will Flav never know the score of? Like I say, Fulham West Brom seems to be the one that everyone's flying towards. Would you agree with that?
I thought this game has already happened. Wasn't this the game we were talking about last week? I swear you got the wrong date.
No, that's Burnley. That was Burnley West Brom.
Oh God! So the next one, Burnley West Brom, and then Fulham West Brom. West Brom fans must be going, "Fucking hell, did we do to deserve this?"
Yeah, well, Fulham played Palace recently as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Of course, Fulham versus West Brom. Why? I mean, it goes without saying.
When it comes to the derby games in the tweet, everyone got it. Result. It's pleased.
Good.
It's good. No one got it wrong. The people in the chat last week, they were just like, Jack mate was joking. I know he was joking, guys. I know he was joking. That's the joke. That's the joke. And if you don't get the joke, you don't watch this anymore. Like Flash said, we've got enough. Chicken Caesar Salah. He said, on the new people getting the pod. Perfect link. I've got to stop saying that, haven't I? I've got to stop saying perfect link. I referred it to my mate, Jake, and his first attempt at a derby game last week was described by Flav as the best he'd ever heard. I've been trying for years and got one on the week before. Life is cruel. See, everyone just wants you to shine the light on them.
What is it? What did he say? What was the derby?
I can't remember the one that he said last week. I'm just going from this.
Well, you can't send that comment in without giving us the example. Do you think we sit here, right? Do you actually think we sit here and think, like, remember what we've said? Like, what good is that? What good is it? Actually, you stop listening as well, and your mate.
No, Chicken Caesar Salad's an OG. He's been around for ages.
No.
Right. Let's get into these.
We've got enough, James.
Okay. I'll tell you what. We'll finish off with Man United Arsenal, which is a derby game, believe it or not.
Cool.
Honza Stibor, Villa versus Southampton is there's a couple for this one. We can't compete for European places, can we? Derby.
Nice.
And Henry James says it's the villains versus the Saints, which is the superhero film derby, bad versus good. Aston Villa and Southampton are kind of like knocking at the door a little bit. They've really they have turned it round. Can they get European places? I would say no.
Well, they can.
I mean, they can. Of course, they can.
They can. My gut says that through the duration of the season, the normal order of things will out, unfortunately. But
it's like
if they don't,
sort of football sediment, isn't it? Like it could, like in the sort of when you sort of shake the glass with water in it. God, these analogies are getting worse. It's everywhere, and where is it going to settle? And then inevitably it does. Just sort of
all the shit sits. All the shit.
Yeah, exactly. It drifts down
settles
to
at the bottom, doesn't it?
Yeah, it drifts down to 9th in the table.
So they could keep at it, and Southampton and Villa. Villa especially. Southampton we expected because they've consistently done okay in the Premier League and taken big scalps at times. Whereas Villa's a surprise, isn't it? And it's a shame they lost 3-0 the other day after sort of waxing lyrical about them for the last 2 weeks. But they've got the players to maybe get in there as well. But there's so many teams with so many quality players that you can't help but think that the very best will end up top. And I just think, I know we're going to talk about Man United and Arsenal, I just think Spurs are primed.
Something is going on, man.
If there is, right.
We are recording this before the Europa League games, by the way. But
against Antwerp, I'm pretty sure we'll be fine against Antwerp. If there is another season,
sorry, that's so getting clipped up if you don't win tonight. Just to say, can someone clip that up just in case?
I mean, I'll live with us. No, actually, get beat by Antwerp. It's like getting beat by Forest Green. They're a team, aren't they?
Yeah, Forest Green Rovers. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, what I'm trying to get to here is that if we have a mental season like we did when Leicester won the league, if it's one of them kind of seasons,
oh my God,
and Spurs just are consistent, and Jose Mourinho, if he might not be the most exciting coach, although we have registered the most shots on goal. Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is like, and Son's like third top goal scorer, and the rest of the entire goals scored by clubs.
Really?
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, XG through the roof.
Yeah, we have the best goal difference. Anyway, if you look at what Harry Kane's achieved so far, and you project it, if he continues on this vein for the rest of the season, and this is, using the amount of goals and assists accrued in the first 7 or 8 games, whatever it's been, he's projected to get 31 goals. It's all right, and 50 assists.
50?
50 assists. If he carries on, he can't carry on like this. He can't.
Where does the sediment fall though on Tottenham Hotspur Football Club?
Well, I think the sediment of the league, if you compare,
right, let's do it. I wasn't sure about doing this, and obviously you're going into a huge game this weekend because it is the big derby game against Brighton, which is the most annoying bird derby. The cockerel wakes you up at 6 a.m. every morning, whereas the seagull steals your food and then gets its mates to annoy you for the next hour. According to Ned. So huge derby game this weekend. Can Spurs actually legitimately win the league? Because you're doing all right, mate. You are doing all right. Liverpool haven't got any centre-backs anymore. Man City players are bored. They're not listening to Pep anymore. Something's happening there, is it not?
Chelsea ain't quite working out for Chelsea.
They've stopped conceding goals, but they're creating a base. Lampard's creating a base, supposedly.
Oh, well, last week it was who's going to get sacked first, so Pochettino takes over. So it doesn't... one result and everyone suddenly go, they're creating a base, or actually, what's his name? Slabhead at the back.
Who? For who?
I always forget his name.
The Chelsea, Thiago Silva.
No, at Man United.
Oh, Harry Maguire.
Yeah, Harry Maguire, right?
Yeah. He
just said, this is how we got our season back on track. A week ago, we were talking about the most boring game ever, and everybody were going, Ollie and Lampard both aren't good enough. 1 win, or 2 wins, 2 good wins, don't get me wrong, Ollie's, and now it's like our season's back on track. It's just fucking nonsense. Everyone who talks about football is just talking bollocks constantly.
Yeah.
Because...
I got it wrong last week, and I stand by what I say a little bit about Solskjaer. We'll get into that a little bit more. But let's stay with Spurs for a second. Because... The thing is, if you do keep it going, Brighton this week, who I think people kind of are generally impressed, but it's because they're slightly inoffensive. I think that
they're better than their league position. They're better than the league. If you look at their XG and expected points, they're something like, I think, I can't remember, it was in like 8th or something like that. Yeah. Be a tricky game. Will be a tricky game. The problem with that is that if Potter comes out and plays.
Oh, they'll play.
He can't do that. He has to sit back. Yes, we can. If you look at what if you look at what's the results so far this season, West Ham, 99 times out of 100, if you're 3-0 up on 82 minutes, you win the game, right? So you could argue that was a freak result. The goal he scored, one time in 100 that might go in. So they deserved it because they played their way back into the game. But the reality of football is that it was inconceivable that we'd throw away that lead, but we did, right? If we'd have taken those points, and if we hadn't got that penalty against us, the arm ball penalty that everyone went crazy about, and even Steve Bruce said shouldn't have been given, we'd be top of the league by 2 points now. And that's with everybody wanking off Everton, Villa, and everybody else, myself included. Spurs would be top of the league, but no one talks about Tottenham as contenders because they have this idea in their head of what Tottenham are, except what they're thinking about is what we were. It's so It's
so
like
are you asking what you're pleading the public to do is open their mind? Is that what you're saying?
I'm happy. I would happily be considered underdogs throughout the whole league, right? I'd happily do that. It's much better to just be understated.
Ollie Sack, who's a Spurs fan, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. I think we get this wrong sometimes. But anyways, Spurs are on the best run of games. When you get a harder run of games, you have had it has been a bit kinder for you. You've got Chelsea coming up soon, and some tough games after that. But yeah, mate, I think it's like I say, this to stick with the sediment idea. Lots of elements of today's podcast. To stick with the sediment idea, like this forms into something like the longer it goes on. I know that sounds really, really obvious, but all the ideas, you want to believe in Mourinho, you want to believe in the sort of the identity of his best teams have been teams that have got that talisman up top, are amazing in transition, have good game management, and you're still kind of yet to prove that because you haven't. Well, I guess you did against Man United, but they had 10 men. But I think when you play Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City, I think that's when you'll see the truth, maybe. I agree. And all I can say to that is the last time we faced them with a squad that was half as good as it is now, we beat them under Jose Mourinho. Liverpool was the only one that we didn't beat, but we were unlucky and we could have got something out of that game. Man City we beat. Arsenal we beat. You don't have to beat all of those to win the league. Yeah. You can draw those games. And just look at our squad. Like, it's unbelievable for me to say this. Well, I did a video yesterday about the underrated players. And like the reason I wanted to make that video was because of Højbjerg. Because I was watching him and just like, this guy is just brilliant. So that's the key, is keeping him fit. If he's been our best signing, hands down. And that includes Bale, everybody. It might not play out towards the end of the season, but the geezer is mustard. He just holds it together. It's just the talent. He's like a leader as well. He's brilliant. And to sign him for 15 million, it's just like Arsenal fans, and we don't know how good Partey's going to be. It may be that he's an incredible world-class player for Arsenal. But the way they reacted when, in reality, you don't know if you've got half the player that we have in Højbjerg, is kind of representative of how sometimes unfashionable players go under the radar and aren't given the respect they deserve. But if he gets injured, we are in trouble, because that's, despite having this massive squad, we have no one that can do what he does. Harry Winks just isn't good enough in that role. But elsewhere, mate, like if you think of our forward line, Son and Kane, like they're on fire. Yeah, fitness is key. Bale can't get a start. Well, Bale's going to play tonight against FC Antwerp. They'll play. They'll play and he'll win. And but they basically said, like, Sacramento, our assistant manager, came out and said Bale it wasn't fit properly, but now he's getting to the levels and he looks incredible. To have him in, but the key is that midfield of Ndombele and Højbjerg. Ndombele is the most intelligent footballer I've seen at Tottenham. Did you say Højbjerg or Ndombele? No, Ndombele. Really? Yeah, he's pitch IQ is incredible. He sees. It's like watching
No, like A Beautiful Mind. You see that film, The Beautiful Mind. He's just like he's like 4 passes ahead of everybody else. So he's and his ability. You know when the ball's passed into midfield and you expect take a touch, look around, what's around, pass, whatever it might be. He's done that before he's got the ball. He's made a decision where he's going to turn into space, or most often he'll pass through the lines and find Huminson or Kane or whoever it might be in space before the players have even got time to react. I'm so glad that they managed to sort that out, that issue they had, because if we were to let him go, it would. He's going to go to the very top, and however long he stays at Tottenham is dependent on how many trophies we can win. And given that we've never been able to win trophies, it might not be that long because he is destined to play for whatever football club he wants to.
Wow.
I thought the only slight issue is his fitness.
A really good sign with him was that I saw an interview with him and he was talking about himself in the third person.
Yes.
And saying that you haven't seen anything yet. And I think that's a really good sign for a player. Delta up.
Yeah.
And
did he?
We all know what happened with his career. Just went from strength to strength. So now I'm excited. No, he is like he's wonderful. Like, and I think that's the thing is like often with midfielders, you have a lot of players that can do kind of one thing well, whereas like this midfield, like and Ndombele, he sort of gets around the pitch. He's so good on the ball. I think we're waiting to see him maybe score a few more or assist a few more, but his creativity is kind of utilised a little bit earlier in the play a lot of the time. Probably not seeing that, and actually it might be quite good that he stays under the radar a little bit. And then Højbjerg, that we were saying about him and Winks. Like I like Winks, but with Højbjerg, it feels like what do I need to be? When the situation asks for him to be like a combative midfielder, he's like fine. When he needs to be this like playmaker, he comes and gets, and he's like fine. Like when he needs to sort of drop in away and be a DLP, like he drops in and does that.
He's got the most passes.
He looks like a captain. Like it seems like he's a captain. Just sort of.
He is.
That's the other thing as well. Like sort of snuffing out danger as well. Like that's a sort of. You've got a Carrick player there. You've got a guy who just wants to come and get on the ball, like a sort of. I've got Noble in my head, but like that kind of player. Like he's so much more than just a guy who's going to sit there. Like even though it's someone like and. Liverpool fans are going mad about this, and I feel like I'm always digging out Fabinho. But that for me, when I compared Thiago and Fabinho, the point I was making with Thiago is that I think Thiago, you could kind of pop him in 3 different positions, and he's world class. Fabinho, I don't think he has the same kind of athleticism to get himself out of trouble at times, and so that means that he has to play the sort of anticipation role in as a DM, right?
Rob Turner's just said in the things that the comments are going to hate this.
But the thing is, my point with Fabinho, and if anyone wants to get angry about it, and fill your boots, that's fine. But
we've got enough listeners, so
we're fine. We'll leave then. This is a dangerous road to go down. my point, the thing is with Fabinho is I don't doubt that he's amazing. But my point is I'm comparing him to others. I'm not comparing him to general standard of being able to play football. He's clearly amazing. Yeah. I agree. Like Fabinho, Ollie Sack's saying Fabinho is a world-class DM. I wouldn't say he's world-class. I think he's nearly world-class. But I think he just lacks a little bit of athleticism to get himself over that line. Anyway.
So we've got to stop saying what we actually think about Liverpool. That's where
so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
So dangerous.
No, I think he's amazing. Again, like if you don't buy Thiago Silva, then Fabinho's the DM. He's the starting DM. He's ahead of Henderson. He's amazing. But if you've got those guys, then you use them. And I think Højbjerg has a little bit more than Fabinho in midfield.
Yeah, maybe. He's definitely underrated. Bear in mind, he played 4 years for Bayern Munich. It's not like he isn't.
Yeah, that's it. So that was a video I did as well. So who are the best 5 players in the Premier League? I really like Thiago, so I can't put him in there. And they was like, what, after 2 games? So he's not played 2 games in his entire career, is he?
Yeah, it's not Premier League history. It's 5 players in the Premier League.
I like Fabinho. I just think there are better players. A big one for Chelsea as well this weekend. Of course, they're playing in the 7-letter derby against Burnley away this week. Thanks, Geordie Greenham, for that one. Sheffield versus Man City is their defenders lap over and under and around and everywhere. So their manager must be well clever. Derby.
They do fuck all anymore.
Wolves versus Palace is the animals medieval rulers thought were cool on their crest derby as the Eagles take on the Wolves. That's cracking.
That's a
really
belter.
Like I was saying, Fulham versus West Brom. Bobby Turner, who's with us. We need to police the comments again. He just said in the chat, actually. He's saying Fulham versus West Brom is the favourites to go back up derby. they're already down.
Already the favourites.
And on that same thing, it's about to get. I don't know if you know. Do you know who Schrödinger is?
Yeah, Schrödinger's cat.
I did have Schrödinger's cat. That's it. Fulham versus West Brom is Ben at the last Stuart. Fulham versus West Brom, Schrödinger's derby simultaneously in the Premier League and the Championship every season.
Yeah, that's clever.
Do you know what? You know what I'm like. I'm sucker for an underdog. And I can't support Fulham because obviously they're a rival source of. They play in West London. So I'm starting to think. I think I might become a West Brom fan, just for the
your Prem team
journey. If they can sneak out of the bottom three, I think I'm going to become a West Brom, and just as a PR stunt, really, as much as anything, just because, of course, I hate the Midlands, which we established a couple of weeks ago. So those are mostly those. We've got to finish off with Man United versus Arsenal. So Mark 88, Man United versus Arsenal is the hopeful something's happening here when nothing at all is happening derby. And Stephen says nothing beats the game we all big up because it used to be a big game. Realistically, no one really cares anymore. Derby between Arsenal and Man United.
Do you remember when it was Arsenal Man United? That was the big game. Do you know, with Vieira and Keane and others, and but it's just football cyclical. You got to enjoy the journey. You can't be obsessed. And the problem is with Arsenal fans is that I think they really expect every season. They really expect something great to happen, and they're never quite satisfied because they grew up in a time where they had everything. They had incredible players. The best team, one of the best teams the Premier League's ever seen. Not the best, but one of the best. They got to watch Thierry Henry, Bergkamp. They went a season unbeaten. This is when these are the formative years of a lot of the Arsenal fans you hear now screaming at the cameras and doing, saying and going mental and calling for a manager's head 5 games into his tenureship. And will not change their minds because this is what I said and I have to stick to it. I'm just weak if I change my mind. I'm not talking about at Arsenal Fan TV, actually, specifically. I'm talking about this geezer I've just been watching a lot of for some reasons. Just find him fascinating. His name's Lee Gunner.
Yeah.
I just watch it.
I was thinking of... Lee Gunner's not the bald one, is he?
No. That's weird, isn't it? That's Lee Judges.
I like him. He's I respect him.
He's a stand-up gentleman.
Proper.
I was just sitting there going, what are you doing in that room? You don't fit there at all, but he enjoys it, so he should do what he wants. But that's the problem. And I'm not digging out Arsenal fans. It's just the most obvious example of enjoying the journey, enjoying the moment. Like if West Brom gets to stay up, don't think about next season. Think about every result. And if you go back down to the Championship, just enjoy that moment, every game in that moment, and if this is the time where Spurs finish the league top at the end of the season and we win it, then that's magnificent. But I'm not thinking about that at all right now. I'm just thinking about I'm really enjoying my football again. I'm really enjoying watching my team play. So, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, I think it's like the sort of the crack. We're about to do Liverpool cracks, but the cracks with Arsenal. It's funny, isn't it? Because I think we make a joke about the cracks and the drama and the piranhas being out because you're kind of within the joke, but it kind of exists in its own sort of period of time as well. Because, like we say, this game is the perfect example of it, where you've got Arsenal, who 2 games ago were Arteta's like he's added steel. He's trying to make people trying to make steel sexy or not conceding goals sexy, which is fine. And the Man City game, they were more resolute than they have been in previous seasons, and you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to get the best out of what he's got. But I reckon 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, if you say, yeah, no, I like Arteta, I think they're doing all right, but it's not a good squad. Arsenal fans will go for you, right? But
So, yeah,
I think now they're kind of using it for themselves. Well, the
Yeah.
people that don't want to turn on Arteta yet are doing that.
Yeah.
Because I think, if you look at the players that they've got there, I think Arteta, he's thinking about not conceding first because that's what he walks into. And say someone like David Luiz, he initially was like, bloody hell, what have I got here? But then he was like, oh, maybe I can use him as one of the side centre backs in a back three where you're hiding the weaknesses. And I think that's happening for a lot of teams in the Premier League because there's not many centre backs that are trusted. Like, we'd just be going on about Spurs there, but I think even you'd still say, are you sure about Eric Dyer just yet? Like, is Alderweireld, he's not as good as he was maybe 2 years ago, but I think you're less concerned about him. And so Arteta's like, how do we figure a way to get around that? And who's our other good player? It's Aubameyang. So if we've got Aubameyang, and where does he seem to score goals? Down the left-hand side. Right, let's guide everything towards playing in a way that gets him the ball on the left-hand side. But football's so high level now that doesn't, and so high profile, and there's so much analytics with it all, that I think they're just kind of, in an attacking sense, they've been found out a little bit and they need to find another way. And Arteta may be able to find one, but he just might be stuck with the players that he's got. This is a new test for Arteta to find out how to continue to win games when you've got players that you don't really think are that good.
I mean, that may be the case, but that's what he has. And I don't think they have huge amounts of money to go out and see massive wholesale changes. If you look at what they did in terms of, and I'm not going to start slagging them off again because everyone knows how I feel. Anyone who's heard me say it before, I won't say it again. But what they did in the summer in order to finance their deal to sign Willian means that they can't have a surplus of cash there. And I think what people obsess over is how much have we spent in transfer fees? Doesn't matter. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the value, the cost, the entire cost of the contract that the player has from the minute he joins the club, including the transfer fee, to the point he leaves or he's sold. And that, with Sanchez before him, Ozil, and then Aubameyang, leaves a club that doesn't generate, compared to other clubs in the league, as much as they used to. They're not in as powerful position as they used to be. So they do need a coach to come in who can get more from the sum of the parts than previous coaches. And
which I think he's done.
Well, I don't know. Has he done it? If you look at the XG, they're projected to be 14th or 13th, something like that. Their expected points.
Struggling to create.
The issue is, what he's done is he's fixed one problem and he's created a problem somewhere else that didn't exist. There is something wrong with the system if Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang can't score goals or create chances.
Yeah.
But it may be that he's working on it, but he just had to fix the problem of conceding goals first. And I appreciate that might be the case. And he might be working on a new system that's going to supplement the really good forward line that they have. Maybe Partey is the answer. Maybe he will be incredible. But what I've seen so far is that he had momentum last year and it's just dropped off a cliff for some reason. Losing 3 of your first 6 isn't something that Arsenal fans are used to. And if you have aspirations for winning the league or finishing second, third, then you can't lose 50% of your first 3 games. You'll never win the league or even be in contention by doing that.
I think people talk about Partey, is he the answer or not? I think so. What he's got to do now is everyone knows the way that they look to play, and so when you understand those movements, then it becomes easier for you to sort of combat it. And if you generally concentrate on the left hand side and stop those people, because Aubameyang's always going to want to come in onto his right hand side or make a run diagonally into that area as well. Like, he's never going to go down to the byline and cross it and be that unselfish, because that's not what you want from him. So I think that he needs to put together a new way of playing that's a bit more balanced. And how they do that, is it by going back to something a bit more conventional, and you play like Willian as a because he's been playing Willian as an attacker. I know it's the Man City game, so they've been a bit careful. But that, like you say, it does feel really imbalanced. But I would back Arteta to figure out a better way of playing in terms of balance.
Why? The thing is why?
Because I think he's done it once. Like he's got the best out of that group once, and now people. That's the sort of unforgiving nature of the Premier League, is that you once people figured out one way of doing it, unless it is as fluent and as dominant in terms of the depth of your quality as a Man City, a Liverpool, those other teams. Where you've got, like, if you look at Chelsea, both sides of the pitch, they've got ballers. Like same at Man United, same at these other teams. I don't feel like Arsenal have got that category of player at the moment. So they're trying to do the best they can with the ones that they've got. So what he'll need to do is try and find a better way of using, say, Willian through the middle, or the thing with Partey, that was the point I was going to get to, is I think they've been so careful before. But if you've got someone like Partey there who can do a bit of everything as well as a midfielder, then it might free up a midfield that maybe Xhaka doesn't play, or Ceballos doesn't play, like one of them doesn't play, and it allows you to have someone with a bit more attacking threat through the middle to give them that balance. Maybe.
We just don't know. We don't know anything about Arteta. That's the thing. Really, we don't. I mean, what we've seen is a regression so far. From he was like, he had this peak where they were playing well. They managed to poke Chelsea back to 2-2 when only 10 men, and Martinelli was flying. And then they lose to Brighton, start sort of shipping some goals. A little bit of discontent. The issue with Ozil, it's a lot for him to deal with, and we don't. And Andy's got to completely change the system that they play. He's intent on playing out from the back, and I've got to say they're good at that. They look quite comfortable playing out. I don't know how long. It's a lot of mental pressure for defenders to do that throughout a season, but it feels like a really big job for a manager who has no experience in being a manager. It's different from being a coach or a number two. You very rarely see number twos go on to do anything decent in the game, which is probably why he wanted to. It's probably why he wanted to move quite quickly. He didn't want to be saddled under Pep Guardiola for that long.
I think he has set the tone, though, a little bit with some of the decisions that he's made.
Yeah, no, he's right. The discipline. I applaud that. When Doozy, Arsenal fans are rated. I thought he looked like a really good player as well. But whatever it is, he stepped out of line, and that was it. And he needs to have that authority. So I've been impressed with that. But how much are we getting duped by the smart suits and the good-looking chap on the sideline when they're used to Emery and Wenger? The evidence is what, and it's too early for me to judge them. I can't talk about Arsenal as much as I try. Actually, I don't even try. I can't talk about Arsenal without a bias. I'm always going to do it. You can't ask me not to, right?
Yeah, but Turner says he is good looking. We can all agree on that, surely.
He's absolute dreamboat.
Yeah. Man United are unbeaten in 13 Premier League home matches against Arsenal since 2006.
Jim, can we make a decision now? Just, it doesn't have to influence anything. Well, it definitely won't influence anything outside of this podcast. But can we just make a decision? We can't just keep flip-flopping on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the time.
I know. Because I went through the comments this morning, and I'd kind of, because that was on my mind, I was like, because I'm often give him a chance. And last week I was like, nah, come on, Jim, make a better decision. And my general decision is that, and I stand by it, but he's got, his squad is getting much better, right? The players that he was able to bring on yesterday in a game that I think they were already 2-0 up, maybe not, maybe just 1-0, but they were able to bring on Cavani, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford comes on and scores a hat-trick. Like, they were able to make a lot of really impressive changes to that team. The depth in that team, McTominay came on as well. The depth in that squad is pretty good in midfield if you're getting a tune out of them all, right?
Right.
But
Jim,
my line in the sand is I don't think he's. I think he might be an all right manager. I'm not sure how good a coach he is.
That isn't a line in the sand. Are we in or are we out? Are we going to defend him to the hilt for the rest of the season, or are we going to smash him every time? Jim, great. I'm a positive person. I say from this point forward, you and I, we'd find a way, regardless of what happens, we find a way of papering over the cracks.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go.
Ollie, we have to both go Ollie in for the rest of the season.
Okay. And if up Ollie for the rest of the season, that's it, is it?
We're backing Ollie. We're backing Ollie.
Backing Ollie. Okay.
No more flip flopping. Ollie is the man to take them forward. He's at the wheel.
No, like I say, he's a cracking manager. Full stop.
Exactly.
What a manager.
All it is from this point onwards on this podcast is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's propaganda train.
Yeah. And do you know what the thing I really like about Ollie is that
I've always liked
he's
him.
been brave enough to invest in this team. And a lot of people haven't given him the credit he deserves. But as a manager, he's been superb. Look at last season. A lot of players there getting a lot of heat. Why are these players playing in this team? He was investing in his future. And people couldn't see it, but I could. I've always backed him. I've always thought he's been brilliant. And now we're seeing the fruit of that labour. Finally, people are listening to what I'm saying.
Pogba's playing. He's got Pogba playing.
He's got Pogba popping it about.
Jose Mourinho couldn't do that.
Yep.
He's just smashed RB Leipzig 5-0. This is a team that tore Tottenham apart last year.
Yeah.
Managed by Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. He's beaten the likes of Newcastle United. I think we know how huge a club they are with the great likes of Hendrick, Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser. Yeah, Darlow, 4-1. He beat him. Amazing.
Yes.
And I would say, do you know what I would say, Flav? That 6-1 defeat against Spurs, a blip. I would call it a blip, and nothing more.
We're going too far, but we're backing Ollie.
Yeah. Sam Cornish says got the diamond working. Yeah, because he's a great coach. Listen. Why isn't anyone listening to what I'm saying? He's cracking. So who wins this game? Arsenal versus Man United, or Man United versus Arsenal? It's got to be Man United, isn't it? Ollie's behind the wheel. He's flying.
Yeah. I'll always say any team over Arsenal. So I'm going to say Man United 2-1. 2-1.
Okay.
If Harry Maguire doesn't header the ball into his own net effectively, then they are a good team. Hang on a second. The alarm's going for the bread. Mrs. making bread.
Alarm's going for the bread. Wow, the modern world we live in. People didn't used to do this.
Alexa, stop. Ollie.
Alexa, stop breaking the bread.
The bread's ready. Proving the bread, haven't we? Yeah. So I'm going to go for
2-1.
I'm going for I'm going to get cheeky. As long as Man United don't kick the ball in their own net, Arsenal don't necessarily challenge going forward that much. I don't know.
Okay. Still to come. Quick. Importantly here, quick football urban legends. We've got Ref Watch, but first, we've got reactive clubs as well. Our managers gaffes, bloody hell. But first, Liverpool #Liverpool cracks. So I think in the comments now we'll call it Man United glue, Man U glue. There you go, #Man U glue. Little things that are just really bringing the club together, getting them on the right path. The opposite, of course, is Liverpool cracks. #Liverpool cracks. If you spot any, yes, Flav, you look like you want to say something. Or were you just taking a breath? Sorry, you look like you were about to say something. Okay, Liverpool cracks. They continue. Obviously, they're struggling with the man glue. Rob Turner said, "Brilliant." #man glue. That sounds. No, I'm not sure about that. That doesn't sound right. Man U glue, because man glue sounds.
Man, yeah, it's a bit. I quite like the sound of it.
Yeah. Flav's saltiness towards Liverpool has cursed them. It's official. He says. For fuck's sake, can we just see one crack in this team? And they proceed to have their biggest defeat in 57 years. He got salty that City had more injuries than Liverpool. So the whole team died, pretty much, he said.
True.
Two can play that game, Flav. I think Tottenham are a wonderful team that holds on to leads very well. Never get injuries, for sure will win a trophy and get top four. It's a good thing Kane and Son are regularly fit and available. And Mourinho obviously isn't the same idiot who loses his entire dressing rooms in an instant, etc. Couldn't be going better for Spurs, scoring goals for fun. Interesting.
Please don't do that, because you've had everything. I haven't. I haven't experienced even a smidgen of the stuff you have as a Liverpool fan. So, don't do that.
Less of that, he says.
Less of that.
Back to Liverpool cracks. Let's concentrate. Let's keep our focus here. Because it's like some people saying, is it bullying? Because they are going through a tough time. We'll go, we'll call that at Christmas. We'll call it if it's bullying at Christmas. If you do see any Liverpool cracks. Daniel
It's
Cooper.
not bullying to have a go at the toughest kid in the school, is it?
That's a good point, yeah. It's brave. We're being brave here.
Brave, if anything, yeah.
Liverpool crack. Jurgen Klopp has upped the number of head shakes in post-match interviews from 5 to 7, feeling the pressure. Cracks!
Crack!
And Jack says, I only see cracks in the Reds when they lose at home in the league. So that's when the cracks will come. They play West Ham this Saturday at home, 5:30. If they lose this week, then the cracks are there for all to see. And Flav is quite legitimately cursing. Well, is it you? I'm part of this. So yeah, we'll see. Because they haven't lost in like 65 years at home, I don't think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true.
It's that time that everybody loves.
They are due one.
They are due one, that's true. Reactive clubs. Let's do it. This week, boring.
Good.
So get ready in the chat. The periodic table of elements. Windsor, of course, winning last week. They are beryllium, I think it was. Is that right? Yeah. Last week we asked you, who is sodium? And there were only 2 contenders here, Flav. It should be interesting, so get ready to vote. The comments, look, reactive clubs, yes! Luke Ball, yes! They love it. It's the greatest bit we've ever had. Apparently.
Are they just saying this because they know I hate it?
It's a bit within a bit that they love the reactive clubs. Ridiculous. So for those of you who don't know, what we're doing here is we're trying to pair up the periodic tables elements with football clubs. Last week we asked you about sodium, which is basically just who is the saltiest football club. We have 2 options. The 2 options are Arsenal and Spurs. Devang Shah, reactive table, sodium, salty, Spurs. Slip up is Spursing it up. Gotta be done for the alliteration, if nothing else. And AK, the producer, is chucking Arsenal in there. Arsenal is a soft club. The fans seem to always be salty and very reactive. Champions League trophies and too much of Arsenal's salt makes people sick, but they are still in Group 1. It went a bit weird there, that comment. But basically, Arsenal and Spurs. This is difficult because obviously Arsenal fans are going to be angry or Spurs fans are going to be angry. It goes to the patrons. And I would imagine that we don't have too many Arsenal patrons. If we do have an Arsenal patron, you're a bloody legend and you've got a sense of humour, which is great.
Yeah, Jesus.
Get your votes in right now as we reveal this week, which is boron. I don't really know what boron is, but this is apparently what it is. Boron is it's on the right-hand side. It's a metalloid. Sure. I was looking into it. It's quite difficult. There's not much to say. But I'll read it out. So, which football club is boron? Boron is a mineral that's found in foods such as nuts and the environment. People take boron supplements as medicine. Boron is used for boron deficiency, menstrual cramps, and vaginal yeast infections. Just thought I'd get that out there. Elemental boron and metalloid is found in small amounts of meteoroids, but chemically. God, see what I mean? It's found naturally on Earth. I had something. Good luck. Hang on. Characteristics. Boron is similar to carbon in its capability to form stable, here you go, stable, covalently bonded molecular networks. Even normally disordered, boron contains regular boron. Oh, God, it's happening again. Here you go. Crystalline boron is a very hard black material with a melting point of above 2000 Celsius. So I think that is the main thing that you could probably take and try and put together with a football club. Best of luck. If you can do it, it will definitely get read out. That's for sure. As we look to keep it going with our periodic table. Have they voted?
Yeah. I'd say it's Arsenal.
Let's have a look. Can we pick Spurs just to annoy Flav?
Yeah,
Spurs. Arsenal. Spurs. Arsenal. It's tight. Arsenal.
Luke Golding is an Arsenal patron.
Wow, Luke, you're an absolute legend. Absolute legend.
I could never listen. Don't go anywhere. I'll rein it in a bit.
I think Arsenal have won. The patrons have spoken. Arsenal are sodium. Congratulations, guys. You make your way onto the periodic table of elements.
Surely we can think of something better than this, Jim.
Yeah, the people seem to love it. People seem to love it. Tell us why you love it in the comments below. No Leakley Weeds this week. Nothing. No one really talking about Leeds, despite them winning 3-0. Despite Bamford tearing it up. I'll give you some quick urban legends, shall I? Football urban legends. Last week we asked you for your urban legends. I'm just going to read these. You don't really need to react to them because that's the whole point. Just quick ones. Seymour 33. Football urban legend. Garrincha lost his virginity to a goat. Ben Lippett. Hi, James. First time commentator, regular listener. Football urban legend. We have a great pub story that goes around Wolves. Apparently, Bright Inabakara happened to go missing from training a few years back for a couple of weeks. While Carl Akimi was away on international duty in Nigeria, he just so happened to find Bright walking down the street. Asked him what he was doing there and sent him back on his way to Wolves. It's surely A-star bullshit, but I'm yet to come across someone who doesn't believe that it happened. And final one, apparently, this is from Brighton, apparently Daesh's voice is gruff because of the earthworms he used to eat.
It's that thing back in the day, went.
Ref Watch, this is really getting out of hand, actually, a little bit. It's interesting. We did have one person, I'm not going to read out the whole comment, but we were talking about in the mailbag. So for those of you who don't know, we do a mailbag podcast for patrons. You ask anything you want. You're basically there chatting with us as it goes along, and we answer it. We just chill, basically. And so we were talking about it then because Matt Robson, who did put a comment in here, but I haven't put it in here, he pretended to be an upset ref, and then did it on Twitter as well. He put it in the comments. If he'd left it in the comments, it would have been fine. But he did it on Twitter as well, and then he started getting a bit of beef from different people. Even myself, I went, it's just a joke, mate. And then he just panicked and went, oh no, I'm just joking. And someone called him out on it and said, you were so close. Just didn't needed to hold his nerve. Maybe next time, Matty. Maybe next time. So yeah, what we do with this ref watch thing is it's just spawned from, basically it's insulting a ref, which is, but it's not insulting the ref. It's mind games. It's what can you say to the ref without getting sent off in order to control to get him to give your team decisions. Yeah.
Back in the day on the terraces, it would be the referee's a wanker.
The ref would then get upset and give you all the decisions.
Yeah, they're like, they think I'm a wanker because I've been. I better give them more decisions. That's
no, I'm not a wanker.
Yeah, see here, have a penalty. I remember being like, a kid in the stadium and hearing fans sing that and thinking, no, shush, don't. We need him on our side. Everyone calling him a wanker is not going to help here.
Yeah. That's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. We have a ref that has got in touch. We've got a few refs, actually, that have got in touch. Caleb Rogers. I worked as a Sunday League referee for about 3 years in my late teens. I have many weird stories from various matches, but one of the weirdest things that was said to me during an under-14s girls match was that I was officiating. The big walrus of a dad took issue with a free kick I gave the opposition. So in response, he yelled, "What kind of gravy have you been eating, ref?" I don't know if it's up north. It's a northern thing.
You stop talking about the north.
In the most disgruntled manner. I found this rather strange. After the match had ended, it turned out that Gravy Walrus man was in charge of the subs, and so when he approached me to pay up the refereeing fees, he looks at me and goes, "Listen, mate, I'm sorry for my language during the game. We all have our moments, don't we? I feel like I should have been more offended than I was." Gravy, what was it again? What kind of gravy have you been eating?
We all have our moments, don't we? Not an under 14 girls match, no, mate.
Gary went once, not in an under 14 girls match, in one of my own. I was probably under 14 at the time. He called the opposition's, like the dads would do the line, and then you have ref in the middle. My dad, the only time he ever snapped at the football when he was watching me, he called their linesman. He was like, he claimed that he cheated. He went, "You're a cheat." He's like, "You're a cheat." It didn't matter. I was so embarrassed. You're a cheat. Where are we? Ali Hassanballah. God, that's tough. Hassanbalanabi. Ref Diggs, a common light insult here in Egypt. So we've got an Egyptian in Egyptian football. A common light insult here in Egypt is calling someone a zero on the left.
I read this. This is great.
That's fantastic. It's basically telling them they're worthless and everything would be the same if they weren't there. That's amazing. A 0 on the left.
Like you're actually adding absolutely nothing to this moment. And everything would be exactly as it is if you wasn't there. It's like the insult. I used to have a bit of banter with this kid I used to work with, and I used to say, you just take up space I could potentially walk into." That's pretty deep. I say it to Sam Peoples all the time as well.
You just say it again.
You just take up space that I could potentially walk into.
That's harsh. Right, let's keep it going. Onion Bag, in extension to calling a ref lost, saying they're at sea also works great for me. They get the message, but it's not enough to get a booking. Alternatively, I like to say the game is slipping away from you, ref. It puts pressure on them to act quickly and plays into the egotistical nature of having complete control. Owen Taylor, hey Jimbo, great pod. Hope you and the wife are doing well in these difficult times. Thank you.
Oh. Nice.
While I've got you here, I'll let you know. So he's clawed me in. He's clawed me in with the compliment. Very good. While I've got you here, I'll let you know that I love to ask refs to clarify rules for me passive-aggressively. Hey, sir, just curious, is he allowed to put his studs through my ankle without getting the ball? Or pushing in the back is allowed if they're smaller than me, right? Kenya Dave, to the ref, sincere and polite. Sorry, mate, why did you call that? Nods in understanding. To your mate.
It's like essentially. Can you just explain yourself, please?
That is something I would have done. Oh, wait, please just explain it to me. Sorry, mate. Why did you make that call? They nods in understanding to your teammate walking by within earshot of the ref. I think he's just a bit overwhelmed. It's getting a bit out of control. Always gets a subtle reaction. Gets under the skin. Got a couple up. Sorry, Tom Cribb. As I was captain of my under-18 Sunday League team, we often had... Did he need to say captain? I guess maybe he did. We often had refs similar age who could be intimidated. I'd often loudly defend the ref or tell my players not to shout at him. Then when I got the opportunity, I'd run past him and say, I'm really trying to help you here, but it's not easy. Two more classics. Why are you trying to take attention away from the game?
This isn't about you. That'd be one, isn't it? Yeah. This is not about you.
Have you ever played the game, mate? Yeah, I like the first one. Why are you trying to take the attention away from the game? Larry Zachowski, just checking in, lads. On the topic of refs, my five-a-side team was doing so poorly in a game once that the ref felt compelled to take our free kicks for us. He did, and we scored from one. What's the weirdest thing you've seen a ref do? That's one for the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing a ref do? I played for Leatherhead. Do you know Leatherhead? Played for Leatherhead under 18s.
Yeah. There was someone got murdered there once.
Right. Okay. Yeah, probably. I think who's it? Alex Inglethorpe. Jamie Mackie played there as well. Anyway, I played.
Is this a humble brag of yours here, Jim? Is that what you're trying to say?
You
ever heard of Leatherhead? Jamie Mackie. You might have heard of Jamie Mackie. He played for Leatherhead once. I played for that same team.
The point I'm making is that it was, although it was an okay level, this was the really weird thing that happened, was that the linesman was a man, and he was bald. He wore a wig. He wore a blonde wig, big blonde wig, and it wasn't a sort of, it wasn't like that person was transgender, because we'd see them before, you'd see them in the bar afterwards, wouldn't have the wig on, but whilst being the linesman, wore a wig.
Right.
And it's dangerous ground now. Back in the day, it was like, why are you wearing a wig? Because he's not, in the bar afterwards, he's not wearing a wig. So it's not like I wear a wig all the time.
Well, you just wear it for the pitch?
Yeah, just literally wore it as the linesman.
Wow.
Really strange.
Yeah.
And I'll just a full stop.
There's a number of murders in Leatherhead, just for the record.
Good to know.
Seems quite a violent place.
What a relief. Tyler Norton, as a former ref, it's a thankless job. No matter what, half the people are against you. The best refs are fair and communicative with the players, explain decisions, and admit fault when they have it. when you have it and gain the respect of players and coaches. No one likes missing calls, but admitting it happens and making yourself human helps a lot. That being said, players make it fucking impossible to do this now with the constant deceptions and antics. And Harry Brown, he's a ref. And he said, I'm a referee and I purely do it for the dollar.
What I think, if there is a ref who's confused about why players or fans shout abuse at them when they're being fair, we don't want you to be fair. We want you to be biased towards our team, and anything else means you're shit. That's the reality.
Yeah,
you can't win.
Perfect.
You can't win.
Yeah, you can't win. Well, that's it. I guess you've got to I mean, the only one who's was it Kalini? What was his first name? Kalina. Everyone, there was this sort of hipster idea that he's good. He's the barometer. Really good, yeah, because I don't know, he looks scary enough to intimidate.
That a look, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just decided that he was the best, which I find quite weird over something so subjective. Anyway, Manager's Gaffes.
He was actually on the cover of a Pro Evolution Soccer. Such was his sort of credentials. I think it was Pro Evolution Soccer 3. Kalina was the cover star.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that. Manager's Gaffes. Last week you put forward to the people Steve Bruce. Can we furnish his gaff? Actually, people were saying, can we call it Gaffer's Gaffes? Which I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's better or not, but I'm happy to change it. Gaffer's Gaff. So next week we'll need a manager. Flav, who would you like to choose?
All right, let's go with. I'm trying to not go north. Always go north, and we end up saying the same stuff. Let's go with Mikel Arteta.
Okay, Mikel Arteta for next week. So yeah, let's know what his. I think it's his living room, isn't it? Normally we look to furnish. This week, Devang Shah manages Gaffes. Steve Bruce lives in a caravan to travel quickly from club to club and parks it beside the local pie kiosk.
And it's not a caravan that you drive. You have to put it on the back of attach it to a tow bar.
Yeah, and it's got this very 80s. It's like a murky brown trim round the side of it.
yeah. The interior is brown and orange.
Yeah. And there is a small bed, but he has to undo the sofa and turn that into the bed in one of the corners of the caravan. Yeah,
he basically takes all of the cushions off the sofa and just lies straight down the corridor.
Yeah. As you enter his accommodation, you smell the waft of the farts he has left in that small caravan living room, which for him smells simply homely. Todd Samways thinks differently. He says, Steve Bruce has a handmade armchair in the corner of his room. When he loses his keys, he stuffs his hand down the side of said armchair, revealing the remains of various pastries, but never of his keys. There's an old and worn-out coffee table slap bang in the middle of the room, which he struggles to edge past daily, yet never moves. That's mental detail.
That's so good.
On the TV, he plays
like on these coffee tables, right? You get there's a little bit underneath. You put the magazines.
Right. Yeah.
There's just 14 copies of Razzle.
Yeah. Which he doesn't have a subscription to. He's just kept ones from the 80s because he prefers them.
He just likes having something tangible to hold.
Yeah. The coffee table as well is
he ain't got the internet either. That's the other problem.
The coffee table has like a gold trim and then it's a sort of a pattern underneath and then glass over the top. Anyway, I'm just thinking about my nans basically. Where are we? On the TV, he plays Premier League years 92-93 on repeat in between highlights of Joe Linton, which he likes to watch as he falls into his armchair with a whiskey and whisper softly. Ah, that's better. Do you know what? I'm a bit funny about trophy lifting. Steve Bruce, if you ever watch Premier League years, and when Steve Bruce lifts the Premier League for the first time with Brian Robson, he does it with Brian Robson, and there's a cameraman kind of nearby as they go to lift it. So I think it's Steve Bruce. So as Steve Bruce goes to lift the trophy, he bumps into the cameraman. And so he kind of looks at the cameraman for a second, like the shot's a bit off, and then the trophy goes up, and it's really annoying. Just saying
It's okay.
Rab Summers manages Gaffes. I imagine Steve Bruce owning a chippy instead of a kitchen. Gary Pallister working the till. Oh, that's class. Gary Pallister just always looks fat, didn't he? He's like, but weird fat, sort of like, you know, like tall, fat but thin, like those kind of people.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
sort of had a double chin whilst playing for Manchester United.
I see what you mean. I'm looking now. Yeah, good player though.
Oh, he could play. SA Managers Gaff, Steve Bruce definitely has a secret spot under his sofa where he hides tapes of Babe Station showings that he's recorded years ago, and his wife has never had a clue. That's pretty close to what we were just saying. That's weird.
Yeah.
AK, the producer, Steve Bruce has a brown-themed living room with boring brown furniture and tables. He has a reasonably old Toshiba television, which always seems to not be working. He has football shirt frames of the best players to have played under him, brackets, but they were never good under him, Robertson, Maguire. He has a Sports Direct mug that sits on the floor at the back of the room, stopping the water from a leak in the ceiling. Under his brown sofa are hobnob crumbs and empty raisin packets. It's interesting, everyone's ones have got a similar kind of vibe to it. He constantly watches reruns of Biker Grove whilst drinking Earl Grey with no milk, as it is 2 days expired. So he's got milk, it's just expired. And last one, Steve Bruce, a man of the people, lives in a small one-bedroom flat in a tower block. His home would be dusty and full of takeaway rubbish, but always a Newcastle tracksuit drying on a radiator. Spends his evenings watching back series of Geordie Shore. He's got with Geordie Shore.
No, like Touch of Frost. Touch of Frost.
Yeah, he likes those crime series. Yeah, which are in VHS, but it's not in a hardback. It's in sort of like a paper casing.
Yes, I'll just slide in.
Right, I think I'll tell you what. We'll give you a shark news fact, and then we'll get our patron. We'll do the patron quiz. Rob Summers, if you want to go into the Jaffan Discord, hopefully you know where that is. Let me just get the link.
Yeah, was in there, wasn't he?
Is he already in there?
No, not you hasn't yet. But
he's not in there. He'll be in there in a second.
Go on, I'll help.
Where are we?
Is he still in there? Rab, you there?
It's right. He'll be in a second. Any other business from you? Does anything want to? There was one thing I did think about was Lampard. You know, Lampard saying that English managers don't get the respect. Would you agree with that?
English managers don't get respect from who?
From
what? Just from top football?
From the press, I guess. It's harder to be an English manager.
They're just not good enough. They're not as good as the foreign managers. So, I mean, you give them respect just because they were born in this country? Really? Earn the respect, isn't it? Earn the respect.
I kind of agree with what he's saying, but I think it's something that will naturally change because I think football progressed. English managers didn't progress. And so now, like a bit like England with their DNA where we didn't have players who are sort of tactically good at all. We now do have those players because we've sorted that out, and I think it's the same.
Tell me one manager, English manager deserves more respect than they're currently getting.
Roy Hodgson.
I think he's well respected.
He's had a long career.
Managed everywhere. It's just lazy bullshit. To be honest,
I guess
it's funny that it's the same. Who said it? Who said it? James, just curious. Who said it first?
Lampard said it. Lampard said it in an interview.
But he thinks he's underrated.
He says it's harder to be an English manager. They don't get opportunities because they're seen as dated. My point to that is that I think they were, but I think that period of managers, the ones that weren't able to adapt. I guess Mark Hughes, Pardew, Allardyce, they are slowly
all dated.
Yeah, they're all dated. That's what I'm saying. Whereas the new ones coming through, I think it's a perception that's changing. Is what I'm saying. So I think he's. Yeah, he's kind of on the borderline of it changing. That's the problem for him. So he's a bit annoyed.
I just think, it's the biggest league in the world. It's always going to attract the best talent in the world. If you can't cope with it, then it's not because you're English, it's because you're not good enough.
Get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like this is the most money's in our league. The best players are in our league, probably overall. It's probably the most competitive in terms of being able to stay in it and finish in the top four. Historically winning it. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Let's get to the fun bit.
Let's get into the fun bit.
What is the score? What you got?
How many did you get last week? There were a lot of people getting angry. We're kind of re-establishing the rules of the patron shame quiz, which I think is a bad name. If people can think of a better name for the patron quiz, that would be really, really good.
We got 4, didn't we?
But I think on the line now, if he unmutes himself, we will have Rob Summers, who I think is a new patron, which we applaud.
Hello,
Rob. Hello. How are you? Where are you calling from today?
Hang on, I think I know. Is it Hearts?
Yes, mate. Yeah, calling from
Edinburgh.
It is, because we spoke to you earlier in the week.
Edinburgh.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So you're going to be taking on this week's quiz, which is interesting.
Jim,
Not on hat tricks again, Jim.
Sorry?
Not on hat tricks again.
Possibly. We'll see what I can find. What I will need to do is stop sharing the screen, because you'll see the answers, which we don't want.
Can and what can Rob win? Should he finish top of the pile at the end of when we decide to stop doing this?
I think what the real question here, Flav, is what can't he win? Because the prize, of course, for the winner of this, when we decide to quit it, is anything you want. Really,
you can have anything you want. What do you want, Rob?
Let's not get too ahead of myself. Let's
he's focused. I like it.
Keep it calm.
Okay. At a time. Very good, Rab. Right. So options include, when it comes to the quizzes that I have in front of me right now, is we've got FIFA World Cup quiz, we've got Premier League quiz 2, because I think we've done most of Premier League quiz 1.
While you're thinking about that, I just want to tell you, Rob has come up with a name for for this quiz: the Little Slug Showdown.
Little Slug Showdown. Well, comment down below, Little Slug Showdown, if you think that's what we should be calling this quiz.
The name of the quiz should be called Little Slug.
And the two most knowledgeable little slugs will go head to head, maybe at the end of the season. We'll see.
To win
anything they would like. Rob, we've got World Cup quiz, UEFA quiz, Football League quiz, Premier League quiz, round 2, FA Cup quiz, England football quiz, Great Britain football quiz, obscure football quiz. We've got all sorts. And just so you know, a bit like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you can, if you're struggling. Who was it last week? Who did it last week? I can't remember who it was. Who came in?
Name.
Was it Luke? I think it was Luke.
Yeah, it was Luke.
It was. So you get the option. You can ask the chat, or you can ask Flav. Those are your 2 lifelines.
Wasn't there?
I think.
There one other, was it?
There might have been one more, but I can't remember what it was. If anyone can remember, let us know. Right.
Yeah. What was the 3 lifelines?
Yeah. Rob, are you ready? And which category would you like?
Let's go for the World Cup quiz.
Okay.
Okay.
FIFA World Cup quiz. Interesting. Okay. Right.
You got a part. Catherine it was a pass. The third thing was a pass.
Well done, Catherine. Well done.
All right.
Right. FIFA World Cup quiz. In the Little Slug Showdown. It might be the name of it just for a week. But I think it'll stick.
Can I just think, if people have somehow got to the end of this pod, this is an opportunity for patrons who are watching this live to win anything they want in this quiz. So if that doesn't make any sense, that's what we're doing right now, right? We're speaking to patrons. I imagine people are watching this going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. And again, I would really love to know new people. Like if you are new to this world, just give us a review. I'm fascinated to know what you think. Right, let's.
Luke Balls. Before we go, Luke Balls. He's put in an exception, and he's saying, I will say I didn't get to choose my own quiz questions.
Fair point. It's Premier League though. Come on, should be doing all right there. Right, FIFA World Cup quiz. Question 1? Which was the first FIFA World Cup Finals tournament to feature substitutes?
Fucking hell.
This is going to be a guess.
This is wait a second. Because if you want to guess, that means you're
going to lose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, up to you. Or you can pass.
You pass. You can ask me, or you can use all 3.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll pass this one.
Passing it. Okay. Flav, did you know this one? Do you know the answer to this one?
I would think it would have been in the 70s.
Correct.
Would it have been...
Don't take too long on this. Come on.
would it have been? It would have been 74.
It was the first FIFA World Cup Finals tournament to feature substitutes was Mexico 1970. Sorry, Anatoly, of course, Anatoly Puzak of the USSR was the first used substitute in the opening game against Mexico. Right, so you passed that one. Still on 0. Question 2. Rob, do you prefer Rob or Rab?
Rab.
Yeah, go with Rab. We've already got a Rob, right?
Scottish.
True.
Come from Scotland.
How many FIFA World Cup finals have Australia qualified for?
This is so hard.
He asked for this round. Australia.
You have to push it.
I don't know. I may ask the chat for this one, you know.
Okay, I think that's a good use of that lifeline. There are... Okay, yeah. So, well, I mean, basically, this is kind of cheating. So... They could just literally write down a number. They could just keep writing numbers, couldn't they? And they'll get it right. That feels like that's.
Well, no, he's got to pick. He's looking at the chat, isn't he?
Oh, right.
He's got to
pick one from them.
Pick one of the answers you want.
Right, we'll keep quiet. So, right, in the patrons are in there now. They're chucking all sorts of numbers in there. Interesting. Sam Cornish feels very strong.
Sam Cornish just very strong. But
come on.
What are you going with, Rab?
Come on, Rab.
I'll go with Rob. I think it's 5.
Wrong! Sam Cornish said on numerous occasions 4, and that was the correct answer. Australia have been in the World Cup. See Rab there, Jim, in the background. Fuck! He wanted it. He wanted to win anything.
He's walking away with 0 points.
So, yeah, he is struggling. He is the worst of the little slugs. 1974 was Germany, 2006 in Germany, 2010 South Africa, and 2014 in Brazil, of course.
So,
poor.
So how does it feel, Rab, to be the very worst of the little slugs? If that's, I don't feel comfortable.
It's not great, mate. It's not great.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, I don't know. It's a bit of shit, but oh well.
Yeah, sorry about that, Rab. I'll tell you what will lift your spirits, because we'll finish on this. Quick sharp fact, Rab. Fancy that?
Yeah, let's go.
There you go. That'll cheer him up. Okay. 48. The empty egg cases of some sharks, brackets such as dogfish shark, that wash up on seashores, are called mermaid purses.
That's right. They look like a little purse, and it has little twindly bits that fix to rocks so it doesn't wash away in the swells.
Lovely. There you go.
Feel better now, Rob?
Yeah, feel better with that, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there you go.
That's why we're here. Thank you for your continued support, Rab. Really, really appreciate it. Right, guys, if you want to be doing the quiz next week, let me know on the Patreon page. Put it in the comments there, and then I'll message you, and then you get in. Happy days. And if you want to become a patron, there is a link in the description. Come get involved. Become a little slug.
We can't call them little slug.
Jaffa lover. Become a Jaffa lover. Yeah, that'll be it. Get involved in the comments as usual. Very important. You create this podcast. There was one thing where people were saying, "Oh, I think we should do a thing where it's we sort of use the comments in the podcast." I was like, "What? Like that is the podcast?" I was like,
what? Someone said that on the.
Someone said it on Twitter or something like that. Put forward an idea. Anyway.
But maybe that is the podcast. Maybe that they were sort of playing along with you.
Joking, and I've not got it this time.
Yes,
we all make mistakes.
Right, bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching, patrons. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Peace.
See ya. Bye.